Join me as I share a journey of survival of a tragic incident that happened to a girl on her way to school. I hope it can inspire others to find hope in their own struggles. A promising morning filled with the hope of a new school year turns into a nightmare when a 15-year-old Ada is attacked on her way to school. The vibrant girl, once filled with dreams, is left broken on the roadside, her innocence stolen. Ada struggles to comprehend what happened, but fear grips her. She returns home, terrified to tell anyone. Her once bright eyes now reflect confusion and pain, but she tries to pretend everything is normal. Weeks passed, and Ada starts to feel unwell. At first, it seems like a simple fever, but her body is betraying her in ways she can't understand. She feels weak, but the emotional weight is even greater. Ada's behavior changes. She isolates herself from her family and friends, fearing judgment. Her grades start to slip, but no one could see beyond her sudden silence. Ada's mother notices the changes in her daughter. She confronts her, but Ada is evasive, refusing to admit the depth of her trauma. Her mother feels helpless but doesn't push harder. After months of hiding her pain, Ada collapses at school. She is rushed to the hospital where doctors run tests. The result is shocking. Ada has contracted a deadly disease, HIV, most likely as a result of the assault. Her world crumbles. The diagnosis forces Ada to reveal the horrifying truth to her family. Her mother is devastated, wrecked with guilt for not noticing sooner. Her father is furious at the world, struggling to contain his anger. Tension builds in Ada's household. Her parents, once a united front, begin to blame each other and themselves for Ada's tragedy. Ada feels like the cause of their suffering, deepening her emotional pain. Her father vows to bring the attacker to justice. He fights through the trauma of his daughter's pain and the slow-moving legal system. His obsession with revenge begins to strain the family even more. Ada begins treatment, but the weight of her illness, trauma, and the guilt feels unbearable. She sinks deeper into depression, pushing away even the people trying to help her. The disease weakens her body, but her heart even feels more broken. Her mother, struggling to stay strong for her daughter, begins to crumble. She finds herself crying in the dead of the night, unsure of how to save her child from a battle that seems too big for them. News of Ada's assault spreads throughout the school. Some students offer support, but others whisper cruel things behind her back. She feels bad, unsure of who to trust anymore. As Ada's story becomes public, people in the community judge her. Some cruelly suggest it's her fault, others pity her. The weight of being a victim becomes a burden she never wanted to carry. Despite her mother's fervent prayers, Ada's health worsens. She begins to lose hope, questioning why this happened to her and if she'll ever be free from the disease. Her faith feels faint. Ada begins writing a journal, pouring out her pain. It becomes her safe space, a place where she can express her raw feelings without fear of judgment. Her school arranges for Ada to meet with a counselor. At first, she resists opening up, but as time passes, she begins to find solace in sharing her trauma with someone who listens without judgment. Her father becomes more consumed by his anger. He starts attending support groups for parents of assaulted children, but his frustration with the slow pursuit of justice eats away at him. Her mother, despite her pain, decides to be a pillar for Ada. She begins researching everything about the disease, determined to find the best treatment options for her daughter. Ada's friends struggle to understand her new reality. Some distance themselves, unsure of how to act around her, while others try too hard to fix her. Ada feels increasingly isolated. Ada's condition takes a turn for the worse. She spends more time in the hospital, and each visit feels like a reminder of how little control she has over her own life. A treatment option arises, offering a small but promising chance to slow the progression of Ada's disease. Her mother clings to this hope despite to see her daughter recover. In therapy, Ada is forced to confront the trauma of her attack. The process is painful, but slowly she begins to understand that the assault doesn't define her entire identity. Her father finally tracks down a suspect, but as the case drags on, he realizes that vengeance won't heal the wounds in his family. He starts focusing more on Ada's recovery and less on his quest for justice. Her mother feels the weight of her family's pain, tries to stay strong, but in private she crumbles, feeling like she's drowning in grief and fear of Ada's future. Ada's classmates organize a rally to raise awareness for victims of assault and deadly diseases. Though hesitant at first, Ada attends and finds unexpected support from those who have gone through similar experiences. Ada begins to see herself not just as a victim, but as a survivor. Her journey is far from over, but she starts to reclaim her sense of self. For the first time in months, Ada laughs. It's a small moment, but it's a sign that hope still exists within her. Her family takes it as a sign that she's starting to heal emotionally. Her mother returns to her faith with new vigor, finding strength in prayer. She encourages Ada to believe in something greater than her pain, though Ada is still unsure. Ada's health stabilizes and she returns to school part-time. The road is still difficult, but the small victories feel monumental. She's determined not to let her disease define her life. Her father apologizes to her for being consumed by his anger and neglecting her emotional needs. It's a heartfelt moment that brings father and daughter closer together. Her mother begins organizing community events to raise awareness about assault and the disease affecting Ada. She turns her pain into purpose, finding a way to fight back against the darkness. Ada's health fluctuates, with moments of progress followed by setbacks. She learns to live in the moment, finding joy where she can. Slowly, Ada starts to rebuild her friendships. She opens up about her struggles, and her friends respond with compassion, making her feel less alone. Once convinced that her future was ruined, Ada dares to dream again. She begins thinking about her goals for the future, despite the uncertainty of her health. Her father takes a step back from his revenge-fueled quest and begins focusing on healing his family. He starts attending therapy sessions, learning how to cope with his own pain. Her mother's advocacy work takes off and she becomes a respected voice in the community. Though her heart still aches for Ada, she feels a sense of purpose she hadn't known before. Ada develops feelings for someone new at school. She's hesitant to let anyone in after all she's been through, but her therapist encourages her to explore the possibility of love again. Ada's relationship deepens, but her illness brings challenges. She fears that the disease will make her unlovable, but her partner reassures her that she is more than just her condition. Her father, his persistence pays off. When the trial against Ada's attacker begins, the family attends, but Ada struggles with the trauma resurfacing during the trial. Her mother prays for justice, but knows that no legal victory will undo the damage done to her daughter. Still, she believes in the importance of holding the attacker accountable. Ada takes the stand, facing her attacker for the first time since the assault. Her testimony is raw and emotional, but it's a powerful moment in her journey toward reclaiming her voice. The jury reaches a verdict, and while justice is served, the victory feels bittersweet. Ada knows that while the attacker may be behind bars, her healing process is far from over. Her mother reflects on how their family has gone and how they have overcome. From the darkest days to the moments of hope, she thanks her fate for keeping her grounded and starts writing a book to share her journey with others. Ada's treatment is ongoing, but she no longer feels defined by her disease. She has good days and bad, but she has learned to embrace life in all its complexity. Ada looks back on her journey and realizes how strong she has become. She starts mentoring other girls who have gone through similar experiences, turning her pain into something meaningful. Her mother's advocacy work gains national attention and she's invited to speak at conferences. Her story inspires other parents going through similar situations. Her father finds peace within himself, knowing that his family is healing. He continues to support Ada in her journey, but no longer feels consumed by the need for revenge. Against all odds, Ada graduates from high school. Her journey was far from ordinary, but she feels a sense of accomplishment that goes beyond academics. Ada prepares for the future. She plans to study nursing, inspired by the care she received during her illness. Though she knows the road will be tough, she feels ready to face it. Ada and her family gather to celebrate her 18th birthday. The journey has been painful, but they are stronger, united, and filled with hope for the future. Just as Ada begins to settle into her new life after high school, her health takes a sharp downturn. The treatment that once showed promise now seems to be failing. Ada feels betrayed by her own body again, and the fear of an uncertain future returns to haunt her. The doctors suggest an experimental treatment, but the risks are high. Ada is torn. Does she continue to fight, risking her health further, or does she choose to live her remaining days with the limited but precious time she has left? Her mother, who had found renewed faith through this journey, begins to question everything. The possibility of losing Ada breaks her spirit. She feels helpless, pleading with God for a miracle that seems more and more distant. Her father, who had once been consumed by anger, steps up in a way that surprises even himself. He becomes Ada's rock, the one who holds her hand through the darkest moments. His quiet strength helps his wife hold on even as their world shakes. Ada's relationship is put to the test as her partner struggles to watch her suffer. At times, the illness overwhelms the love they share, and Ada questions whether it's fair to hold on to someone who might lose her. Ada makes the brave decision to undergo the experimental treatment, but she chooses not to be ruled by fear anymore. She embraces each day as it comes, making peace with the possibility of death, but also leaving room for hope. Ada writes a letter to her younger self, pouring out the wisdom, pain, and strength she's gained. She writes about the day of her attack, the disease, and how she found light even in the darkest moments. It becomes her personal farewell, not to life, but to the person she was before everything changed. Against all odds, the experimental treatment begins to work. Ada's body slowly responds, and while it's not a cure, it gives her more time to live, to love, and to dream. Her mother, sitting by her side in the hospital, finally understands that faith doesn't always mean miracles. She realizes that it is about finding strength in love, even when the outcome is uncertain. Her bond with Ada deepens. Ada returns home not cured, but stronger in spirit. She knows her time may still be limited, but now she is determined to make the most of it. She enrolls in nursing school, continuing her dream of helping others. Her family, once broken, now stands united, knowing that every moment they have shared together is a gift. Ada's story isn't over, it's just the beginning. While Ada's condition improves, father's internal battle rages quietly. Although he has supported his family through the crisis, he has never truly dealt with the deep anger and helplessness he felt after the attack. He starts withdrawing emotionally, struggling with guilt for not being able to protect his daughter from harm and for focusing too much on revenge earlier on. He becomes haunted by the memories of his pursuit for justice, feeling as though he let his rage consume him when he should have been more present for Ada. He feels guilty for the distance that formed between him and his family, especially his wife. His guilt manifests as sleepless nights, emotional outbursts, and a growing sense of isolation. His wife notices the change. Once the pillar of strength, he now seems hollow. She tries to reach him, but he shuts her out, insisting that he's fine. Though Ada is healing, her father seems to be breaking, and her mother fears losing her husband emotionally after almost losing her daughter physically. Ada's father hits a breaking point when he lashes out at Ada one evening. It's a small argument over nothing important, but his sudden anger surprises everyone, including himself. Ada is hurt, and her father is left ashamed. He realizes that his unresolved pain has been festering for too long. He retreats to his own sorrow, spending days away from home, wandering through the city streets, lost in his thoughts. He starts visiting the old neighborhood where the attack happened, reliving the horror of what was done to his daughter. He feels powerless, still unable to shake the feeling that he failed his family. One night, Ada's mother confronts her father, demanding that he opened up what he was going through. She tells him that their family can't heal if he refuses to heal himself. Her words cut deep, and he breaks down in front of her for the first time, admitting that he feels he's failed as a father and husband. Encouraged by his wife, he agrees to go for therapy. At first, he resists opening up, uncomfortable with the vulnerability it requires, but slowly he starts talking about his anger, his guilt, and the overwhelming helplessness he felt watching Ada suffer. Through therapy, Ada's father begins to forgive himself. He comes to understand that while he couldn't prevent what happened, he has been there for Ada in ways that matter. He learns to let go of the need to control everything and to accept that some things are beyond his power. As he heals, he works on repairing his relationship with his daughter, Ada. He apologizes to her for the anger he misdirected and the times he wasn't emotionally present. Ada, now stronger and more understanding of her father's pain, forgives him. Their relationship deepens and they begin to share moments of laughter and peace. Having gone through this transformation, he finds a new sense of purpose. He starts volunteering at a local support group for parents who have experienced trauma. He shares his story of rage, grief, and finally healing with others who are at the beginning of their own painful journey, helping others become his way of moving forward, and he finds peace in knowing that he can still make a difference. Ada's father learns that vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. He becomes more open with his emotions, no longer bottling up his feelings. His relationship with his wife flourishes as they both find ways to support each other. Ada's father becomes more present in Ada's life, celebrating their progress. Ada's father finds a deep sense of peace in his family's resilience. Though the scars remain, he no longer carries the unbearable weight of guilt. Instead, he focuses on the love and strength that has grown from their shared pain. He watches Ada, no longer broken but shining in her new life, and feels a quiet sense of pride. Ada's health stabilizes over the months following her experimental treatment, but her recovery is far from straightforward. While the treatment slows the progression of the disease, she is still plagued by periodic setbacks. Her dreams of becoming a nurse push her forward, given her a purpose beyond her illness. She knows the disease still lingers in her body, but she refuses to let it define her anymore. Ada struggles with the uncertainty. Every time she feels tired or experiences a small symptom, she fears the disease is returning in full force. But over time, she learns to live with the uncertainty, accepting that while her future is unknown, it is still hers to shape. During a routine hospital visit, Ada receives some promising news. The latest test shows that her body is responding exceptionally well to the treatment. The disease hasn't progressed in months, and her doctors are cautiously hopeful that, while not cured, she may continue to live a full life with proper care and monitoring. Her mother, the ever warrior of faith, is overwhelmed with gratitude. Though she knows Ada's health will always need attention, she feels as though they've been a second chance. She continues her advocacy work with renewed passion, now speaking from a place of hope as well as pain. Despite her health challenges, Ada pushes forward and graduates from her nursing program. The day feels like a triumph, not just of academic success, but of her victory over the darkest days of her illness. She stands tall, proud of the woman she's become, even though she still carries the burden of her disease. That begins her career as a nurse, focusing on patients with chronic illnesses. Her empathy and experience as a patient make her a source of comfort for those in her care. She understands their fears, battles, and the exhaustion that comes with living in a body that always doesn't cooperate. One day, Ada wakes up feeling the familiar symptoms: fatigue, weakness, and a persistent fever. She fears the worst, that the disease has returned aggressively. After a series of tests, it's revealed that the symptoms were due to a minor infection unrelated to her illness. The scare serves as a reminder that her health will always be fragile, but she always remains resilient. Ada faces her health with a newfound sense of control. She realizes that while her disease may never fully disappear, she can manage it and live a fulfilling life. Ada's relationship, one tested by her illness, grows stronger. Her partner remains by her side through the ups and downs, and together they learn to navigate the complexities of living with chronic illness. Their love is deepened by the challenges they faced, and Ada allows herself to imagine a future with them, something she once feared she would never have. She no longer defines herself by the attack of the illness, but by the resilience she's shown in the face of overwhelming odds. Ada's story becomes an inspiration to many, especially those who feel defined by their trauma or illness. She starts sharing her story publicly, giving talks at schools and hospitals, using her voice to uplift others who are struggling. She chooses to live fully, embracing every opportunity life gives her, and finds strength in the fact that she is still here, still fighting, and still thriving. If you like my stories and would like to support me with a cup of coffee, kindly check the description of this video or check the description of my channel and you'll be able to do so. Thank you for watching today's video. See you in my next one.